Well, welcome everyone to the Cliff Online Education Spotlight as part of our Cliff College Digital Week. It's great to have you with us, joining us for this online stream as we consider the online elements of our education provision here at Cliff College. Here on stage with me, I have Catherine Middleton, and I'll introduce you a little bit to Catherine later and ask her about the work that she does with us here at Cliff College. The purpose of this time is to share a little bit of our desire, our goal, our ambition to be, as Cliff College, one of the foremost providers of theological education in the online and digital space. We think that the digital space is such an important place for us to be engaged in theological learning and in understanding more of God, the Bible, and God's world. And so we've invested heavily at Cliff College in our digital and our online education offering. You've seen some of the fruit of that throughout this digital week. You've seen some of our amazing team and the things that they've been doing. Here in this time, we're going to focus particularly on how all of that energy and expertise is targeted towards our delivery of online theological education. So just very briefly, who am I? I'm Andrew Stobbart. I'm the Academic Vice Principal here at Cliff College. It's my privilege and responsibility to ensure that the entirety of our educational provision here at Cliff College meets the required standards so that our students can leave us with the best possible outcomes, both for their own lives, but also for their ministry in the kingdom of God. It's my privilege to work with a fantastic team of faculty who do the teaching and a fantastic support team who administer and enable our teaching programs to be delivered. Over the past few years, we've been on a journey. And in some ways, COVID and the pandemic and all of the things that happened during that time when we had to hop online for absolutely everything was simply an accelerator for a trajectory that we were already on as Cliff College. We already knew, as many people did know in the education sphere, that moving towards digital and online learning was an important plank in provision for people's life and ministry moving forwards. The ability of people to learn where they are at times that suit them in ways that are suitable to them is something that's really important in education provision. And so we were already on a journey towards online and digital education. And a key plank in that journey was a learning platform. And so the first segment, we're going to talk a little bit about something which we call Theology X. It has a couple of different versions. We also talk about it internally at Cliff as CliffX. It's our online learning platform, our learning management system, our LMS. And the queen of our LMS is none other than Catherine Middleton. So Catherine, welcome. And I'd just like to ask you to sum up in a few sentences, what is Theology X?
Other than what you've already said.
Well, indeed, yeah.
So Theology X for us is a way to overcome geographical barriers in education. It's the place that we store our content to enable people to learn and journey through that information rather than just having a file repository or something where you're finding resources. This is a course that you work through.
So it kind of curates the learning journey.
Lovely. It's definitely a journey.
Great. And Catherine, you've been with Theology X almost from the very beginning of that project at Cliff College. Could you say a little bit about how the project has developed during your time over the last, 3 years at Cliff?
Nearly 4.
Wow.
So 2019, I joined because we'd started Theology X, and at that point we only had Theology X as our global version to work with partners around the world to enable them to share their theological education. We wanted a marketplace, a space for everyone to come together and learn from each other around the world. So that's where we started with Theology X.
And it's worth saying, isn't it, that that was funded by the Methodist Church in Britain, who very generously provided some grant funding to enable us to develop a kind of platform, that marketplace, so that global partners in theological education could share their learning with one another and could really invest in developing theological capacity in places that perhaps wouldn't normally and naturally think about the online space.
For sure, yes. We moved from that, and in 2020 we started building our own version. We thought, if we're using a learning platform, why would we use another site, another type of building? And so we developed CliffX out of that for our own internal use. We have been using that as the tester base for the tools that we then can use with partners and develop that as well. This is why I've gained my title of Queen of Theology X, is because we've had that privilege of investing here at Cliff College in Theology X, in CliffX, in the tools, in our learning, in our journey to understand how we can better develop that education for others and to help people engage well with their content. From there, we've then also worked out how we can support partners and other churches, organisations who want to develop. And so we also have different platforms as well. So they're all part of the Theology X domain.
Yep.
And then we've also working with Methodist Church in Britain and delivering their courses through MCBX. And supporting them in their journey. So I've really enjoyed that journey myself through and sharing where learning can be done better and what tools we can put in place for the educators, but also for the students and those who are participating in that knowledge.
That's great. So it's worth saying that if you're watching this and you've got an online course that you would like to develop and deliver and you don't know how to do that or where to do that, Theology X is probably the place to come, and we would love to have a conversation with you. You would talk to Catherine in the first instance, but we can host your online learning and make that available to those that you want to teach, and whether that's at a church level, whether that's at a national level, whether that's at an international level. If you want something a bit more bespoke, you've got lots of courses that you want to deliver, we can help you deliver a bespoke platform for yourself as well. So we've got all sorts of expertise and lots of products that would be really good to share with you if that's something that's of interest to you. Catherine, as you mentioned there, you've done a lot of the development work in making sure that we're using the tools to the best of our ability to share the kind of theological learning that you would normally get in a face-to-face environment, but through a digital encounter. Are there any particular highlights for you or examples of things that have gone really well in the tools that Theology X offers for theological education? Any highlights?
I really like that we can translate the sites into other languages, because it's important to be able to get that learning in a language that functions for you. And because it's a global site, seeing that in practice when we visit partners around the world and seeing how their students are getting the best content. Often that is that English is the business language. I've really enjoyed seeing that, but seeing discussion forums function and engage and have the ability to get reminders from what's going on, to see the tools that we've got in addition, working with UJA, for example, where you can write your notes in the timestamp video. You can make use of quizzes that relate out of that. It's in some ways quite simple.
Yeah.
But for us, we're seeing the practice of how well people engage with that content when there is something else to reflect on out of it. I can go on about the tools, but that's not really this moment to do it. So if you do want a conversation with how we can offer that training and develop what you're offering, please do get in touch with us.
And I think that's just worth saying that, you may think you've got something that you want to kind of share. What we're developing here at Cliff College through the Theology X community is a community of people passionate about developing theological education in the digital space and using the tools that are out there, many of which are really actually just quite simple and straightforward, but using them for the kind of purposes of shaping and forming us as disciples of Christ and as people who know more about God, Scripture, the world, and everything in it. So that kind of sense of curating the tools that are available for that purpose is where we're developing our expertise, and we'd love for you to be part of that community. We're going to move on now to one of the programs that we've developed specifically to really showcase the possibilities of theological learning, which is our Cliff College Mission and Ministry Development units. We've developed this was a kind of, it birthed in my office a few a year and a half ago when we kind of set out, we've got this platform, but what can we actually put on the platform? And we dreamed up a program of units that could be a standalone program of units that would really support people in their mission and ministry. And I think what we're going to do now is we're going to watch our Mission and Ministry Development Unit trailer. Yes. And after that, we're going to have a really exciting conversation with one of our students who has been engaging in those units online.
Hello, my name is Jeff Conklin Miller, and I'm the Vice Principal for Mission here at Cliff College. Our calling as a college is to stand alongside those who are called into mission and ministry, serving God and the church all over the world. In Cliff's Mission and Ministry Development Program, you'll find the training and the equipping that you need to be a faithful and effective leader in the place where you have been called to serve, whether that's within a church or in a local community context. Perhaps you feel the need for a deeper knowledge of the Bible, or the church's history and traditions. Or you might seek practical training in evangelism and Christian mission, or in ministry with children, youth, and families. Cliff's Mission and Ministry Development Units are offered online, and they feature an interactive and flexible approach to theological studies that will fit into your schedule, however and whenever you desire to study. But while these classes will fit around your own schedule, you won't be on your own. You'll join a cohort of fellow students also called to learning in mission and ministry from around the UK and all over the world. Through discussions online and participation in a gathered study session, which you can attend either online or in person at Cliff College's beautiful campus in Derbyshire, you'll learn from colleagues also on the journey of learning and serving in the mission of God. However you choose, these units will offer more than just information, study for the sake of study, but the goal is development. And so these units are formed entirely around the desire to help develop practical equipping for faithful participation in mission and ministry. And I hope you'll check out our website to see the broader list of the units that we offer, because I know that you'll find something there that will meet your need. Finally, these courses are affordable, and you can choose exactly which set of classes will be most helpful to you in your particular setting of ministry. Each course that you take offers you validated credit at level 4 through the University of Manchester, and if you're a part of the Methodist Church of Britain, you'll benefit from further bursary support to make this path of study even more affordable and accessible. And you can find out information about these opportunities on our website. Here at Cliff, we give thanks to God for the work that you do, and we look forward to supporting you and working with you as you continue in the work of mission and ministry.
So So you've heard there a little bit about the mission and ministry development portfolio that we have. This was launched in September last year, so it's been running just over a year now. And it's quite a unique offering into the theological education space, offering validated, accredited training at level 4, which means that you get credit with the University of Manchester for the units of study that you do. Each one is standalone so that you can just take the ones that really suit where you are in your ministry. Now, I have in conversation now one of our students. Sanday is here. Sanday is currently on our undergraduate program, but before he started the undergraduate program, he took a couple of our MMD units. So, Sanday, welcome to the conversation. And just want to tell folks who you are and where you are.
Thank you so much, Andrew. My name is Waiswa Sande William. I am from Uganda and I serve with the Methodist Church in Uganda as a preacher, but right now I'm in training to be ordained as a minister. And yes, I serve with one of the local churches here, and it's called Pumo, the Methodist Church as well. But prior to that, I was working with Scripture Union Uganda as a regional coordinator, coordinating children and youth work, specifically discipleship and evangelism as well.
Great, Sanday. You're doing some fantastic work. And for the last year, you've been engaging in some of Cliff College's online studies through some of the MMD units. Do you want to say a little bit about the MMD units that you have been taking over this past year?
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrew. I took about 3 of them. One was to do with evangelism, and then pastoral practice, and then the other one was ministry in the Methodist tradition. And it has been a great experience, of course, coming from a developing country, specifically a developing church as well. It was a huge opportunity for the church through me to get this knowledge that probably maybe it could take me years to acquire them. And the beauty about it is that I didn't have to come to Cliff College on site, but it was more like an extension, education service to Uganda, and and then above all, that I have whatever it takes to study. And it has been an awesome kind of experience that I don't take for granted, because you have whatever it takes in terms of learning, in terms of the material. I mean, you don't have to ask whatever you need. In case you don't understand anything, you have a platform where you can go ahead and ask. I mean, it has been a great opportunity. Maybe tell you about 3 things that have stood out for me from that experience. Talk about the digital library. I mean, you don't have to look for books. CliffX, and it has this platform that maybe if you're looking for the book in line with what you're studying, you have where to go. It's just a clicking straight away, and then you go to the library and then you search for the book. And then also talk about the feedback kind of comment section. Each time of the unit, each time you're studying the unit, you have you're left with a platform where you can comment, you can write your notes in more like a feedback to see if you're getting right what you're studying. And at the end of the day, you're good to go. And then the other thing also that I liked about it is very practical in nature. I mean, at the end of the day, you're challenged to go and practice what you're learning, So, I mean, it's just awesome. Maybe the other thing, I would say it's more like a user interface program, whereby you have whatever it takes. You have the library there, you have the comment section where you can write your notes. At the same time, give feedback on what you're writing, you're studying, and then also being practical in bit that you're challenged to practice what you're studying. And I think for me, this has been my highlights all the time I've been engaging with CliffWorks program as well.
Thank you, Sanday. That's so wonderful to hear. And I know, as one of the people who've been your tutor on those online units, that you've been a great addition to the classroom as well. And your comments and your contributions to the discussion forums has been really welcomed. And I think that's a real reminder that although the learning might take place in the digital space, as you said, it's really practical as well. And actually, one of the things that's really important to us is that the digital space enables us to include more locations and more practical observations and situations into our learning. It doesn't exclude them because they're on the screen. It actually includes them because everybody brings their own home situations, their own ministry situations, right there into the learning as it takes place. Sunday, do you want to say a little bit about some of the challenges for you in Uganda of accessing theological education, and particularly, obviously, there are probably some practical challenges of engaging in online learning. So do you want to say a little bit about those and how we've managed to overcome those?
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrew, and the rest of the people that are watching us. What happens is that some of the challenge, I think, to do with the internet, if you really have a great internet, you're good to go. And of course, you're not doing bad in Uganda as far as internet is concerned. And then the other thing is that, well, you must have some good data. That's the fact about it. Once you have data, you're good to go. But by and large, I think the other issue of being available, I think that is it, especially when you're a minister, you have to time yourself very well, that this is the time that I have my classes, and therefore I have to be in class in such and such a time, which is really something that one has to work on to integrate between ministry and then school at the same time. I think for me, those are some of the challenges. The internet bit, which is quite expensive here, and then also balancing between ministry and then school time as well. So those are two things that, for me, that I've personally found as a challenge. But as you said, I mean, it's a great platform. I mean, having different people across the world. I am in Uganda, I'm in Africa. I have guys from Republic of Ireland, talk about Northern Ireland, talk about United Kingdom. Again, we're just together and then bringing our experience and people learning. And then, talk about the seminars we normally engage as well. I work on something and then the other colleague of mine work on something and then we bring them together. I think this is just awesome. At the end of the day, you're good to go and you have all that you need. So for me, it's just awesome. I would just encourage people to sign up for this. If they can. This is just, because you don't have to go to Cliff College, might be on site, and you just have to stay where you are and then program very well, and then you're good to go. I mean, the tutors are just available. It's just awesome. If you don't understand anything, there's room to ask, and then, And then the other bit, Andrew, maybe if I can share, I know this is not a challenge, but the other highlight I didn't mention about is that, especially with this new program, the bachelor's program, realize that the class is running at the same time. I mean, the guy is on site and then the guy is online. In other words, the tutor is in the class with some colleagues in class as well. And then we also have this other set of people online. In other words, the engagement is just the same. If someone in the class has a question to raise, I'll understand me who's online. And if I have a question also who is online, I'll have to question. And then this guy in class also have to know what is taking place. I mean, it's just awesome.
Thank you, Sunday. You've hopped us forward to our next program, which is really good. But Sunday, we're really delighted that this has enabled us to have you as part of our learning community, and we're really grateful for everything that you're engaged with. So we pray God's blessing on you as you continue your day now. Thank you for your time with us. One of the things that we've got for all of you is the opportunity to taste one of our MMD units. So you can sign up before the end of October to a free taster of one of the MMD units, which is being delivered from January. This is a taster of Growing in Leadership, and there'll be a trailer for it at the very end of this session. So do look out for that and do sign up. If you've never thought of doing something online, but you'd like to give it a try, this is your moment to have a taster and then sign up for our unit in January. We're going to move on now because we've done a lot of learning as Cliff College through launching the MMD program. 1 year on from launching that, we launched our brand new BA in Theology and Mission. This is really exciting for us. We've had a number of different undergraduate programs before now, but this is, if you like, our most recent iteration of them. This is a designed from ground up hybrid degree. It's dual delivery, which means that you can study in person or you can study it online. And we're really excited that it launched just a month or so ago, and we've got our first cohort of students. In a moment, we'll be speaking to one of them. But before that, let's watch the trailer for the BA in Theology and Mission. Hi, I'm Andrew Stobbart, Academic Vice Principal at Cliff College, and I'm delighted to invite you to take a look at our brand new undergraduate degree launching in September 2023, the BA in Theology and Mission. Validated by the University of Manchester, this innovative programme provides you with an opportunity to gain a sound foundation in theology and biblical studies, alongside a consistent focus on the practice of mission. At Cliff, we believe that encountering God through study is transformational. And we also know that that encounter happens not only in the classroom, but also in the contexts of mission that we find ourselves in. In our new degree, every student will have a mission placement, carefully designed to enable you to encounter the mission of God in new settings as well as familiar ones, with a particular focus on God's mission at the margins. Our mission connections in the UK and around the world mean that we at Cliff have some exciting possibilities to integrate into your learning. This new degree is a dual delivery degree, which means that we have many flexible options for you to choose from. Come and study on site with us full-time for 3 years in the heart of the beautiful Peak District. Or study from wherever you are in the world online, 3 years full-time or 6 years part-time. Or study part-time in person with us at Cliff College, travelling to teaching weeks and completing the rest of your learning in the context where you are across the UK. This innovative teaching approach means that your learning is fully aligned with whatever age or stage of life you're at. And with a rich array of on-site and online learning resources and support, you are sure to find a study pathway that will suit you. The BA Theology and Mission can be also taken with a Children, Youth and Family Ministry pathway, giving you an award that demonstrates your understanding and practice in the areas of children, youth and family ministry. And at certificate level, you can also take a Ministry Among Older People pathway. Whether you choose one of these pathways or not, you can be sure that over the programme you'll receive a solid foundation in Scripture, in the story of God's people, both through the ages and around the world, and a foundation in understanding what it means to participate in God's mission in the contemporary contexts we inhabit. We're so excited to be launching this degree, the BA in Theology and Mission, and we look forward to welcoming you to find out more, to come to one of our on-site or online open days, and to make an application to encounter God through Cliff, engage in our transformational community, and be equipped to make a difference for God in God's world. Great, that's given you a bit of an overview of the programme. Just a couple of things to note. That is our initial promo video for the BA Theology and Mission degree. We've got a new promo video about to be launched, and so do look on to our socials for the new one when it comes out. That one did also say at one point subject to validation. I can say completely that the degree is now completely validated by the University of Manchester. They're absolutely happy with what we're doing. So that, as I say, was just an old promo video to give you a taste of what we were launching this September. And I have on stage one of our new students. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Ali Alexander. I'm Ali the third for anyone on site, because there are 3 Alis, which has been interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the new course, and I got to say, I mean, we're 4 weeks in, and loving it.
Great. We're working you hard.
Oh, so hard, but with Jesus at my back, I think I've just about got it. So.
Great. Ali, would you like to say just a little bit about what attracted you to the programme to start off with? And obviously, you're a residential student with us here, so just say a little bit about what brought you to Cliff.
The first thing that brought me to Cliff was that a lot of people from my church, all the way down in the south of England, a lot of them have come here, and still come here for various reasons. So it was always on my radar, and I knew that I wanted to take this step of coming to study theology. So Cliff was always the first choice, the first place to check out. And as soon as I saw the course, I came up here for an open day, met yourself, met some of the other lecturers, and it was just that immediate sort of sense that I don't need to check anywhere else, because this is absolutely, ticking every single box.
Brilliant. So if you're thinking about studying theology, don't check anywhere else.
No, just come straight here.
Absolutely.
Save yourself some time.
Brilliant. In terms of the degree, obviously you've chosen to study residentially, but as Sanday has mentioned, and Sanday's in your class now because
Sanday is in my class,
yep.
And it is nothing but a joy to have him in my class.
That is wonderful. Do you want to say a little bit about what it's like to study in this dual delivery mode? Because obviously what we've now done is made space in the classroom for those students who are studying online.
Yeah, I think as Sanday said when you were speaking to him, that having all those different people from all those different backgrounds, varying sort of ages and just totally different people, is just awesome, because you've got so many different opinions, ways of thinking of things coming in to make a better sort of a better reasoning for why we look at things in the way that we look at them. Having people in the class and having people online is also it's interesting. It's not something that I've ever experienced before, but it is great, because I could be talking about something, and then Sanday, who is all the way in Uganda, suddenly answers the question that I have, and it's quite surreal sometimes. But as he said, I mean, apart from Uganda, everyone else seems to be in Northern Ireland somehow. So obviously doing very well over there.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, just for those who may not have been in a hybrid classroom before, your experience of the classroom, obviously you can see the lecturers are typically in the classroom, but do you get to see the students who are online as well? How does that happen?
Yeah, so one of the really cool things about being here is the tech seems to really be on point. So we've obviously got our slides from the lecture, but then next to it we've got a separate screen with all the students and things, which is how we know that if they have a question, obviously they can raise their hand on Teams, and vice versa, they can see us. So we don't tend to speak over each other too much. Sometimes we do, but I think it doesn't matter if it was hybrid or not. I think that's always going to happen. But yeah, it's just nice being able to engage with people, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of difference, as I say, to whether they were here in person or whether they're online.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's been really important for us in designing the degree with this in mind, designing for digital inclusion, essentially, so that wherever anybody is, they're kind of included in the classroom, means that we've been really intentional about it. I remember a really early conversation in our orientation week with Ali and with all of the group about how we were going to have an etiquette as a classroom together, which came up with some really interesting ideas about, making sure that we waved at one another when we came into the room, and there was that kind of sense of interaction. It seems to me that that's been an important part of sort of community building, so that there's not sort of two communities but one.
It would have been very easy to go, well, we're the residential students, so there's us, and then there's the online students, and that's them. But as you say, from the first moment, it was like, well, no, that's not the case. We're one class, we're learning together, we're all on this journey together, so let's just help each other as much as we can.
That's great. That's obviously one aspect of the kind of digital and online learning space. Part of it is also that we've really sought to embed our use of CliffX, TheologyX, into the learning, so that it's not just a place where you go to download PowerPoints, but there's more about that space. Do you want to say anything about your engagement with CliffX and that side of learning?
It's mind-blowing, to be fair. So I will admit that this is my second degree. I did one when I was 18, and just the difference in how much more the input you get from the faculty, but also sort of how much they're taking care of. When we don't have teaching weeks, that we've got stuff to be looking at, we've got stuff to be doing, and CliffX, it's so easy to use. Everything's there. It's all set out, really easily, and because I'm, as other residential students like to point out, I'm a decade older than them. So as the grumpy old man of the residential students, even I can do it. So at the ripe old age of 28. So,
yeah, it's been great watching the cohort actually helping one another with the tech issues.
Yeah.
As people have got used to the technology, to using Teams as an environment, to using CliffX as an environment. It's been really good seeing that kind of cross-fertilization of ideas happening.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, and clearly, I mean, just yesterday, I did say I wouldn't bring this up, but just yesterday, you prepared a presentation on Perpetua and Felicity, which was part of your Introduction to World Christianity course, and yeah, that was a really a good moment. And do you want to say something just about the way that assessment is done, because it's slightly different than perhaps elder degrees?
Yeah, it is. So the way that we're being assessed at the moment is very much, we obviously have an essay to submit. But alongside that, we have a presentation of some sort. I thought that when I first saw it, I thought the presentation was going to be, I was a little bit thrown. I thought it was going to be sort of maybe in the chapel, in a circle, and it's very much dead silence, and you do your presentation and then swiftly move on. But the presentations I've done so far, it's totally different. It's such a supportive. It's such a supportive way of doing it. We're all there. We're with the people that we're with, sort of in our lectures anyway, because it's split between the online students and the on-site students. And yeah, it's just so much more. I'm struggling for the right word. It just seems like a very natural way of doing things. And yeah, we got the presentation out of the way yesterday, so I'm glad that one was out of the way.
You did very well. Yeah. And that's really important, because one of the things that we're trying to make sure that as we bring digital tools into education, one of the things that it's trying to do is reduce the gap between the education experience and then, if you like, the graduate outcomes. That's one of the things that we're trying to do, so that the kind of skills that you're developing here, whether that's skills in communication online or using tools such as PowerPoint, or whether it's just using the digital space in general, all of these tools help you to be able to engage in that ministry and mission space beyond your education in much more effective ways. So those are really important things. Ali, it's great to have you as part of our cohort of students.
Thank you.
And I hope that you continue to enjoy the programme. So if you're interested in joining Ali and joining our new BA in Theology and Mission programme at whatever level, you are very welcome to explore more. We've got an online open day next Tuesday, so please do join us for that, or come to an on-site open day. We've got all sorts of ways that you can find out more about the programme, and we'd love to talk to you about the transforming experience that it is to study theology and mission at Cliff College. We're coming towards the end of our session, you'll be glad to know. But if you are someone like Ali who's engaged in an undergraduate programme, and then you get to the end of that, that doesn't have to be the end of your time with Cliff, because we have further opportunities for study. And I just want to give you a brief trailer, as it were. We haven't got an actual trailer, but a little sort of preview of the fact that in September 2024, we expect to launch our new MA in Theology and Mission, which is a brand new designed MA programme. Obviously, it follows on from the undergraduate BA in theology and mission, but moves on at postgraduate level in exploring missional theology and missional theology in practice in the world today. We have a current MA programme, and it's coming towards the end of its life, as it were, and so from September we'll be welcoming new students onto our new MA Theology and Mission, and just like the undergraduate programme, it will be dual delivery. And I guess why I'm sharing that is giving you a little bit of an insight into the behind the scenes of what we're engaged with here at the college. We're designing these programs from the ground up. So we're not beginning with the old program and kind of shoehorning it into the digital space. But we believe that designing by default for digital is actually something that we are called to do as a college. It's part of our vocation to make the best use of that space. And we're really excited about offering a postgraduate degree program into that dual delivery space so that you can still come and join us on site here at Cliff, should you wish, but that you can also study entirely online, engaging in your studies at times that work in with your ministry and life rhythms, and enable you to make those really important connections between the life and ministry and mission that you're engaged with in your local context, and with those key themes of missional theology, missional practice, and the kind of concerns that we have as Christians engaging in life in the world today. So we're really excited about that programme, and over the course of this year, look out for further information on the MA in Theology and Mission. There's going to be some core units there that are going to enable you to dig deep into missional theology, that are going to encourage you to reflect on your existing practice, or maybe even experience some practical ministry and mission elsewhere. And then other units that will take you optionally into those areas of interest to you, whether that's preaching or leadership or justice, whether it's intergenerational ministry, or whether it's biblical studies or studies in Christian doctrine. We're going to have all sorts of really exciting units that are going to enable you to set yourselves up for an ongoing life of scholarship and of engagement in mission. So just as we end our time, and I hope that's given a little trailer to Ali, so he might consider that. You've got there, yeah. Just a few final thoughts on digital learning. One of the reasons why we're so invested in digital learning at Cliff is because we believe that God is for all, and mission is for all. And we believe that, and it's part of our Wesleyan and Methodist tradition, that we want to open and fling wide our doors and reach the most amount of people possible with the most amount of learning and engagement with God and God's kingdom. We truly believe that engaging in the digital space is one of the ways that we can overcome some of the barriers that people sometimes face to learning. So at times that's because in the digital space we can literally geographically go places where maybe students wouldn't be able to get to us otherwise. We also recognise that sometimes in the digital space we can pay more attention to ways in which people learn. So we can provide supportive learning tools in the digital space that mean that people can engage in their learning in a way that suits who they are and how they learn and how best they can put their learning into practice. And we're developing all sorts of new tools in Theology X, in CliffX, to ensure that our students get the best support possible. Of course, we recognise that the digital space also has its challenges. While it may reduce barriers for some people, it increases barriers for others. For some people, they're not technological natives, and so actually the fact of learning online is something that requires a little bit extra to get their heads around and get into new practices. We are here, and we have a fantastic team, and I'd just like to really pay tribute to the innovation team in general, because their purpose here in the college is to make the learning possible for people by enabling the kind of technology that we've got here at college, but also to provide good advice and helpful support to you, wherever you might be, in engaging in that learning in the online space. And I think just finally, our commitment to digital learning is really a commitment to really enhance everybody's experience and encounter with theology and with mission. I've been really amazed by how our investment in the digital space has really enriched the learning experience for all of our students. I think we're now providing an experience which is really good for those who are studying online, but as Ali has mentioned, it also enriches those who are studying here in person. The education field has completely changed from how it was a few years ago. And here at Cliff College, we don't bemoan that fact or wish that things were the way they always were. Rather, we're embracing this new educational environment, this new landscape. And we believe in this new landscape, by the best use of digital tools, we're able to provide an enhanced learning experience for everyone. And that includes for those of us who are involved in the teaching too. What we learn in this encounter is that God is at work in the whole world, and that God is calling us into that kingdom and into ministry in both physical and in digital spaces. So I hope that this short spotlight on education has been useful to you. I hope that you've heard something of our vision and our burden for pressing into the digital and online spaces for theological education. And I hope that it will prompt you to want to learn more, whether that's by looking at one of our degree programs, whether that's signing up for the taster for the MMD program that you'll see just very shortly, whether it's coming to the Open Day next week, or whether it's just by continuing to be part of the Cliff community, engaging with our online acts of worship and prayer, and really just engaging with how we can resource you in your mission and your ministry and your discipleship where you are. So thank you for engaging in this time together. Thanks to all my guests on stage, Ali, Catherine, Sunday, and thanks to the team who've been putting this together. There's just a couple more events in Digital Week. At 11:30, we've got our wrap-up of Digital Week, and then later on this afternoon, there will be a behind-the-scenes video release to give you a bit of a kind of lift the curtain to see what goes on behind the scenes in the innovation team, if you dare to enter into that little space. It's been great to be with you. Thank you for joining, and I'm going to leave you with the taster promo for the Growing in Leadership Mission and Ministry Development Unit.
Hello, my name's Ashley Cooper and I'm the principal here at Cliff College. It's my pleasure to invite you to join us on the Growing in Leadership Mission and Ministry Development Unit. I currently have the privilege of leading the team here at Cliff College and seek to understand what it means to lead this team as a follower of Jesus Christ and in a Christian context. My own experience is a varied one, and I hope to draw on that throughout this course. In these sessions, we'll explore the key themes of Christian leadership. What makes Christian leadership unique and distinctive, whilst also exploring some of the great models offered by the wider world, including both business and political contexts. There's so much that we can learn, whilst recognising that we have to do that with a discerning mind and a reflective spirit. During these sessions, we will look at Scripture and identify key leaders and leadership models that emerge from its pages, both exploring the Old Testament and the New Testament. We'll take a focus on the person of Jesus Christ and both listen and look carefully at his words and his actions as the one who is always our leader. We will delve into the emerging early church and its wrestle with leadership. We'll take a whistle-stop tour through the leadership paradigms of the church and explore some of the denominational structures and leadership patterns that have emerged. Finally, doing some 360-degree reflection on our own leadership journey and practice. As we journey through, we'll be joined by some leaders who will share their experience. These will be leaders from within the Christian church, some of whom you may know well as from the world of business, the Houses of Parliament, and even from the football world, with the owner of a football club sharing their experience and how they see their work as a faith community. These voices will help give practical example to the thinking we will explore. So I invite you to join me as we make our journey from the Old Testament through to the present day and reflect on a God who has always called women and men into leadership and continues to do so today. As part of our exciting Digital Week initiative, we'd like to offer you a taster session of one of our upcoming mission and ministry development units. The session is part of the Growing in Leadership unit, and I'll be joined by a whole host of leaders from across the UK to help deliver the course. You'll be able to access one of the sessions for free to give you a taste of what it's like before the whole unit will be available in January. Now, you access the session fully online through our own CliffX learning platform. The session we're offering is session 2 of the course. The reason session 2, because session 1 will be delivered live, as we will gather all those doing the course together, either in person here at Cliff or online. The course is a dynamic exploration of Christian leadership and will introduce you to models and practices for healthy, sustainable and successful leadership in Christian mission and ministry. This course is perfect for anyone involved in leadership at any level, or for those exploring ordination. The full unit starts on the 15th of January 2024 and runs for 10 weeks of teaching, plus a further 5 weeks to complete an assessment. If you are interested in doing the course and joining others on the course, then you need to apply by the start of December. The full unit cost is £360, but discounts are available for people sponsored or supported by their local Methodist church or circuit, so please do ask for those discounts. I hope you enjoy this taster session.